Boston Uprising. How is this team going? I am 37's back. I think we talked about that from last episode, and Stand 1 as well, joining from Shanghai Dragons. But I think the biggest hole in the floor is their main support. And soon, Paris Eternal. He continues to ride the high, and I think it could be his last stand. They are to continue carrying.
I'll be so sad. I mean, I'm not like a gigantic Soon fan, but like it'll be so sad to see somebody that old just like retire one day, and it's probably inevitable. Like it's life, but dang, it's crazy. It's crazy just to see him on the Boston Uprising.
He's been playing for 5 years now.
Yeah.
Competitive Overwatch. He's been playing since beta. Him and Linkser, I believe, are the two oldest active competitive Overwatch players.
Probably. That does checks out.
This team, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I think this is probably Boston's best team that they've had since forever.
Wow. Okay, maybe what do you mean by team?
Maybe not season 1.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair then.
When they won like the stage title and all that, I think this team. Now these are rumors. We don't know if they turn out to be true. I believe they are rumored to sign Unique, Valentine. I don't know. I think that would honestly be quite perfect.
I would definitely bump them up for sure if that comes to fruition. Obviously, if memory serves me, have some pre-existing, synergy with their head coach, who I believe is Lori at this point. Yeah. Yeah, this does feel like a redemption year for Boston. It feels like they're finally like kind of making a stand. Obviously, losing Jerry, as much as I kind of temper expectations with him, especially just because I feel like his like social stocks are like through the roof, because like no matter what Boston did, like the broadcast would always just be like, oh my god, Jerry's like so good at this game, guys. Like, yeah, Yumbong, like, canceling EMPs and like fragging out of his mind. Like, yeah, that's fine. But like, Jerry has really pinchable cheeks. Like, he's just really cute and you just want to like squeeze him. And obviously that's not what happened or what was said. But, Jerry got a lot of love and I think he's a great player. But yeah, I don't think that enough of the rest of enough of Boston's other good parts got a lot of love. And I think it was definitely deserved. So somebody like Soon, if you were to break down just like the DPS lineup, I think it's fine. Adding on top of that with, another Korean stud, I think that'd be great too. But as it stands right now, I don't know. I'm still kind of hesitant to give IM37 any kind of confidence. Soon, I think will be great, especially when Tracer just will not die. No matter what you do to her, she always just kind of pops back up throughout a season, and you just have to have that card up your sleeve and say, hey, do you have a good Tracer specialist? And Boston just go, hey, we have Soon. There you go.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting who they decide to play for that.
I think that's the problem, because I think they might be too set in their ways to let go of Color Hex. Otherwise, he's still on this team for a certain reason.
Oh, for sure. I think he has a role in this team. Don't get me wrong. I think he definitely is. I don't know if he has intangibles or what, but he's got, spaces to play. I would just be very surprised if they took Soon off of Tracer. That would be very
stunning.
This is my logic behind it.
Okay.
Let's say I'm like they first put IM37 on Tracer for like a map or two.
Sure. He
looks very shaky. Like he's showing like he's probably not going to show much of these, but maybe he's showing some like, some rookie. Well, he's not even a rookie, is he? He's showing some.
I think he'll be fine with this. It'll just feel like Contenders, and this team will just be jacked up.
Well,
100%.
The people he's playing against are Contenders players.
No, certainly.
But I think Soon you put in Soon if you feel like he's gonna, because Soon, in my opinion, has always been he's been consistent. He's not. He has his moments where he's a little streaky at times, but if IM37's not doing well, you put in Soon for that consistent. He's also could be a leader. Like he's been playing for a long time. Could tell IM37 the ins and outs of the tracers to medium to long range, possibly. I think it's a good fit overall, and No, I think they're going to be a decent team if they, if they do sign Unique and Valentine. This team's going to be interesting.
Yeah, weird amount of depth. Yeah, for sure. Definitely weird to rank. Got a weird amount of depth if those signings do come in, towards the latter half of the season or the off season, that is. And I kind of share a similar opinion. But mine's a little bit different when it comes to like who would be starting. I can definitely see maybe soon sitting out if there are maps that it isn't just Tracer, where IM37 needs to play again. Spitball in here, you need to bot from Reaper to Widow to Ashe to Tracer to Sombra, having that more wider pool, but still can play a decent Tracer serviceable, and then putting Soon in for control maps that's just Tracer. We don't have any plans on swapping off of her, so Soon get in there and go ham.
Yeah,
and we're starting to see that, I think, a little bit more,
especially if it's a double hit scan meta.
Yeah,
those two will. I think those two will play.
Invest in your stonks.
Oh God,
37
no.
Soon is the right play, but
I'm not watching color.
A base that is requiring color hex to be their star DPS. Sure, Echo is amazing for him right now. He's been chasing ladder with it, and I'm hearing he's having great success. If you're going to be trying to grind for number 1 so often, and your most played hero is Echo, I think you've got a lot that some of the other teams don't have under their belt, which is that flexibility. And then now deciding, I'm going to refine this. And surprisingly, the one hero that I can specialize on this year happens to be demanding of knowing so much information or so many different ways to play 3 different classes across 32 heroes, not stuff. That's kind of a tremendous thing to be able to get going, because who else was also a good Echo player when she came out last year?
Shockwave.
Yeah, 2 or 3 people that came to mind.
Yeah.
Shockwave. And
Zeke.
Dante.
Yeah, Zeke for sure. Dante was good.
I think I missed out on Zeke. Well, at least a lot of Toronto Defiant.
Keeping up on. I'm probably not the one. I'm probably not the only one who thinks this. I just don't think Hex is that good to compete against your Yakis, your Fletas of the world. I just don't think I just think Valentine would be perfect, because Valentine has shown that he's a very good flex DPS, and
there's got to be a reason to keep him around.
Probably leadership. Hex is,
and I think that I think he can compete. I don't know if he can necessarily like topple anybody. Again, like every time I feel like the season kicks off, I get like 2 different massively like polar opposite narratives on like what color Hex was like signed to be from like fans, where it's just like, oh well, he started as like a hit scanner, like, well no, his best role is his projectile. I'm like, I don't see either of these, but like, as weird as it is for me to trust in Boston's coaching staff, because historically it has been pretty poop, but this season, again, Minerals moved up, Broy's on the team now, again, somebody who I'd trust building and kind of signing a roster. Granted, he was a little late, but I think he'd probably give like some harsh criticism if he didn't think things were working. And Laurie, again, having some success in Contenders, like I gotta at least give him the benefit of the doubt and say, like, again, yeah, like you're saying, maybe it's the leadership, maybe he's a locker room leader. And I mean, we've seen what Sabiolbi can do. Obviously, his performances on Soul recently haven't been as great, but maybe there's something there holding out hope for him, because again, I think he is good for the league. I think he's good, great personality to have. But yeah, the performances have just, again, not lived up to expectations, not at all.
You know who we have not given? We have not given any love to the tank players.
Fusion, Staying one.
Punk is still on this roster.
All right,
so Punk's great. Love Punk.
Punk is very underrated, especially. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. After when he was first signed up, that initial week where they beat the Glads and they took the Eternal to what was it, map 5,
something like that. Yeah.
I think Punk, like, that kind of spark left a little bit, and they just looked like Boston after that. I think Punk under Laurie, I think he'll turn into a very good off tank. Very, very flexible as well, off tank.
Oh, for sure. I thought his
Red Hog, good Sigma.
It's Sigma. I was incredibly impressed with his Sigma. I remember specifically a Hanamura performance. I couldn't tell you what team it was, just because it's like just weird fragment memories at this point. But just his shield management was insane. Obviously hitting rock after rock, like the kid didn't miss. Like it was like a different Boston Uprising. I think that team's problem last year was just there was no confidence. Like they've lost for so long. Like, yeah, they had like that brief uptick and that was great. And it was like, oh my God, are they turning the corner? And then they went right back down. And it was just like, oh no, we didn't actually get any better. We were just still bad. And it's like,
speaking on
this has to
Gladiators,
change.
it needs to go even further than that. That's what they really need to continue to build.
They need to be able to like think they can win. If you're going into that match and you don't even think you can win and you're just going through the motions, then it's like, as cliche as it sounds, you've already lost.
Yeah, I think players like Fusion, Soon, and Color X. I'm just gonna say Fusion is probably one of the best like leaders in a game and out of game. He is so like, I don't get how he just stays this positive throughout all of this. I don't. That just shows how good of a leader he is. Now, as a maintain, he's a little iffy here and there, but that's why Stan 1's here. Yep. I think Stan 1's gonna be I think Stan 1 will be like a B tier maintain. Maybe he could become better. It was just a wait and see, really.
Yeah, I think again, like judging tank performances is really hard. It's tough to really give them or give them demerits. Let's say, if you put a decent main tank or a serviceable or above average main tank on like a pretty like piss poor team, like they're gonna look really, really bad. But if you put them on like a good team, they'll probably shine just as much as anybody else. Won't be a star, but they'll be there. They'll be kind of a Marvel-esque player that does the job and is great. Be enabled, exactly.
Like, they're like it's like Sato. Like Sato, I think, in my opinion, I always thought Sato was gonna be good. It's just he had like a Neptuno and like just really bad supports throughout his career. Like,
I mean, I wouldn't point too many fingers. I think just the dysfunction season 2. I don't think he got a chance season 1. There was a lot of things stacked against him. I think they kept him around for a reason. I think he showed that in 2020, and looked really good. And obviously, I expect him to look good on Toronto as well. So I don't think it's a super strong parallel, but again, somebody that will do well. I think Stan 1 is definitely somebody who's going to hopefully perform with Boston as long as they perform, behind him.
Oh, look, there's me. Anyway,
just sliding into the Boston. No, I've seen no problem in that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Genuinely.
I had to tell them thanks. But anyone else have anything they want to say about Boston before we move on to before we shift our focus to Chengdu?
I will say one last, positive thing with Boston for at least I want to say a year now. I've been really big on like teams building out their main tank lines and having somebody like Fusions, who obviously has intangibles that we've talked about, has some heroes that he's definitely excels at, some that maybe not so much, and having somebody like Stan 1 come in, having those two players coming into a potential another season of hero pools is going to be a big boon for them. And something I'm looking at criticizing a lot of these other teams that are just running one main tank and not even an added flex tank on the side. Like it's really imperative at this point that people really start to sign and foster new main tanks coming up, because they all seem to be leaving and we're running out of good ones. So we need to start building them up for sure and putting them on not necessarily the bench, but building up that bullpen is going to be important.
Yeah, main tank, just like quickly, main tank has like really high highs and really low lows.
Yeah.
But Chengdu. Sees now.
Chengdu.
One of the best orgs, period.